There's been a lot of talk about Zac Taylor, the play caller. Should he continue to call plays? Plus, thoughts on Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, this struggling offense, and so much more. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. Ring the bell so you get the latest and greatest notifications right here, the number one Bengals channel here on YouTube, bringing you content all the time. We were in, Baltimore for an ugly, ugly game, at least by the offense. And let's start there because this Bengals offense was supposed to be extremely explosive and put up a ton of points. And I had high expectations. I had high expectations for them to figure it out in week 5 against the Ravens, and they didn't. The Tampa 2 is killing them. The cover 2 is slowing them down, and there's a bunch of reasons for it. And first, let's start with Zac Taylor, because whether you watched his press conference on Monday, whether you chimed in on Twitter, whether you chimed in right here on our comment section, everyone's talking about Zac Taylor, the play caller. Zac Taylor should give up play calling. It is time for Brian Callahan to rise up. And by the way, I like Brian, and a lot of people are talking about that. I don't think that solves anything. And the Bengals need to have real solutions. That is a change. But just because you're changing, just because you're moving things up, just because you're shuffling the deck, does not mean you're improving, does not mean you're solving, does not mean it's a resolution. And that's where I am currently. I want to solve the issues. I want to travel to New Orleans and watch the Bengals score 30-plus points per game and watch Joe Burrow spike it, not just in the fourth quarter when they take a 17-16 lead that inevitably would disappear after scoring with 1:58 left, but watch him score multiple times in the first and second quarter. Watch Jamar Chase get free. Watch all of these things happen, and the only way that's going to happen is with real solutions. And I don't think that's a real solution. I think the Bengals have to figure out this Tampa 2, this cover 2, all of those things. You know where that starts? In the game planning element, the game planning aspect of things. And so the game plan needs to change. And so when Zac Taylor on Monday said, it doesn't really matter who's mouthing the plays to Joe Burrow in the headset, it's a collective effort, I agree with him. In fact, I know it is. I know Brian Callahan has a big say in the game plan and how the offense is going to look week in and week out. Obviously, Zac Taylor does. You know who else does? Joe Burrow and quarterbacks coach Dan Pitcher, and insert whoever you want. This coaching staff has been really, I think, open to ideas and things of that nature. It's not like they shut out Burrow or they shut out Callahan and it's Zac Taylor doing this. He doesn't have blinders on. And so that's where I'll start. It's not just Zac Taylor. This entire offensive staff, everybody, has to be better. Everyone on staff. Why change the play caller? And again, I don't love or like, and I was very critical of it, of the shovel pass. And whether it was on Locked On Bengals or right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk, can't happen. Well, guess what? That was one of the plays when they were game planning for the Ravens that was in there. On either a 4th and short or goal line situation, got to have it situation. That was one of the 4 or 5 plays that they probably had for that week. Rip it up, spit it out, throw it in the trash. It's over. That's what I would do, right? That's the thing that I would do. I would get rid of it and not use it. And Zac Taylor mentioned on Monday, we used the shovel pass for Tyler Boyd, and it worked against the Jets. It did not, because there was a holding call. So you could say it worked, but it might have worked because of a hold. And they used it again, I think to Chase, and it was just short. It doesn't matter. Stop using it. I hate the shovel pass, and I hated it before Sunday, and I'm going to hate it this week and next week, and I don't care if Patrick Mahomes ran it. I don't care if the Ravens have ran it. It doesn't matter. When you have the weapons the Bengals have, the odds of the shovel pass play needing to be called are very small. So let's start there. I think the game planning needs to be better. How do they do that? Well, they have to solve a lot of things. They do. This cover 2 thing is where we'll start, but let's call it like it is, man. Joe Burrow has to be better too. Joe Burrow has to be better. He threw it right to Patrick Queen. And he hasn't thrown a bunch of interceptions this year and really rallied after that first week where it was ugly. But I'm not worried about the picks or the turnovers in general. when he's pushing the ball downfield or maybe something gets batted up in the air or something like that. But when you just throw it directly towards a linebacker, and if he wouldn't have picked it, Josh Bynes behind him might have intercepted it. Those are the plays you can't have. That completely changed the game, and it did. It gave the Ravens the lead, and it really put the Bengals in a more tough position because the offense was struggling. And so what's the solution? And to me, the solution is pretty simple. Find a way to shred the intermediate part of the field. Right? We've talked about the run game, and it got going the other night. Well, that didn't solve the cover 2 issues. And maybe it will if they continue to run it. We'll see. And the Bengals clearly don't feel like they can throw over the top of the cover 2. Okay, fine. Well, you know where Joe Burrow's actually at his best? As good as he was with the deep ball last year? Intermediate part of the field. 11 yards to 20 yards. Do you remember many intermediate throws on Sunday? I don't. You know who should shred that part of the field? Whether Chase is double team, triple team, doesn't matter. A guy by the name of Tyler Boyd. So however they need to get Tyler Boyd open 12 yards downfield or 8 yards downfield where he's making a defender miss and turning it into a 15-yard gain or 19 yards downfield on a post, whatever it is, that's the guy. Because even without T. Higgins, this Bengals offense should be able to run, should be able to perform, should be able to continue to be productive, and they were not. 17 points is unacceptable in any NFL game. It's not going to win. The Bengals are averaging 21.6 points per game. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. About 5 points off from last year, and this offense should have been better than last year. And so all of those things add up to they have to be better. I'm not calling for Zac Taylor, the play caller, to necessarily go because I don't think that solves anything. I need solutions. And so solutions are find ways to break cover 2. To me, the intermediate part of the field is just non-existent right now. And those chunk plays, they got to be there. If it's a cover 2 with 2 safeties back, and there's going to be a hole somewhere. And so it's got to be the middle part of the field in the intermediate area. So it's either in the middle or it's on the corners, but it's somewhere. They have to find it. They have to find it consistently, and they haven't done that. They haven't found it much this year, and that's where Joe Burrow was really at his best last season. So find it, get in the groove. That's what I need to see from this offense. I do have a positive thing to say about the offensive line, and I will do that in just 1 second. But first, a word from my bookie, because your favorite athletes always strive to put themselves in a winning position. Well, you can do that with my bookie. They have the biggest online selection of odds, contests to fill all your sports betting needs all the time, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag is where it's at. Whether you want to bet on the Major League Baseball playoffs, bet on the NFL, or just play for a share of big cash prizes in the weekly blackjack tournaments that they have. If you've been waiting to get in on the action, the right time to get on the action, you can do it right now by signing up at mybookie.ag. Use promo code BengalsTalk to claim your deposit match of any amount up to $1,000. Up to $1,000 right now with promo code BengalsTalk. So if you deposit $500, you're going to get an extra $500. If you deposit $100, you're going to get an extra $100. If you deposit $1,000, now you just turn it into $2K, which you can wager on the Bengals, maybe to beat the Saints. Maybe you think they're going to rebound and win the division or rebound and make it all the way back to Super Bowl 57. You can wager on all of those things and so much more. Where? At mybookie.ag with promo code BengalsTalk. Again, that's promo code BengalsTalk to claim your bonus. Experience sports in a whole new light. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie and promo code BengalsTalk. You know, the offensive line was such a topic this offseason, and certainly a topic the first few weeks. What are you going to say about them in week 5? All this talk, Frank Pollock and this and that. I thought they played pretty well. And that's honestly, as positive as that is, that's also a scary thing. Because if you would have told me the Bengals offensive line's playing well, I'd say, oh man, well, Joe Burrow's going to feast. And he didn't. Oh, this offense is going to feast. And they didn't. So they really need to work through some things. And I don't think it's strictly just having someone else call the plays. Change the game plan a little bit. Try to find the intermediate part of the field. This offensive line is giving you time now. So take that, use it. It's going to be tough with Cam Jordan, right? The Saints got some guys that can get after you, but still, take the time and find the intermediate part of the field. This week, Tyler Boyd, I need him to be a part of the game plan. T. Higgins at best will be limited, I think. I don't think he's just going to magically recover from an ankle that kept him out for essentially the entire game in week 5. We'll see. Not sure about that. Still not sure about Jonah Williams. We'll have more on both of those guys on Wednesday. Right now, they're considered day-to-day. Jonah battling an MCL. So we will see. But find the intermediate part of the field. Find chunk plays. Anybody upset if the Bengals have a 12-yard gain or a 14-yard gain to Chase? That works too. But you can't have Jamar Chase 7 receptions, 50 yards. All of these targets, all of these passes were behind the line of scrimmage or within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Like 15 of Burrow's passes, of his 34 attempts. It's just not how you're going to win. Not in this league. The Bengals have to find out a way to do it. And to me, if you're not going to push it deep, because they're in that too deep shell, intermediate part of the field, 11 to 20 yards, hammer that home. That is a huge thing that I'm looking for this week. We're going to have a ton for you here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk all week long. Of course, we'll be at Paycor Stadium. Of course, we're going to hit the road and head down to Louisiana, try a little gumbo. Send me your recs, by the way, your recommendations. If there's any Saints fans that come on, anything good. Hey, don't try to trick me either, because if you try to send me to a bad place, I'm going to find out before I go there, and the joke is going to be on you. So hopefully you have some good recommendations for me. Also, Bengals on the Brain with Joe Goodberry. Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Be there. We will see you there. Go to mybookie.ag and use promo code BengalsTalk. For Andrew Foxmiller, I'm James Rapien. And like I said, win, lose, or draw, we are here for you. Cincinnati Bengals Talk every single day, essentially, right here on YouTube. So subscribe, ring the bell, and until next time, thank you so much for watching on CBT, Cincinnati Bengals Talk.